Hey everyone, thank you again for joining us for another episode of the Liverpool Connection podcast. We're Pub Chat. We're at the house today. The pub isn't open yet, so we're here to do the preview of the last game of the season away at Southampton. With me today, Daza and Julian. How you guys doing, lads? Going into the last game, it's always bittersweet for me knowing that I have to go a couple months without watching the Reds play, but I'm also excited about ending this season and looking forward to the next one. So, thoughts?
I'm ready for it to be over. I'm sick of this season. Yeah, I'm done already. I mean, this is a dead rubber match, isn't it?
Yeah,
it means absolutely nothing. But it'd be nice to have 3 points in the win and just go into a nice little break for the lads and for us as well.
What do you think, Julian? The lineup might be this weekend. It could be anything, right? Like Daza said, it's a dead rubber game. Are we gonna get some minutes for players that are leaving? Are we gonna get some minutes for some youngsters? What do you reckon the lineup may be?
Well, before that, back to as well what Darren was saying and yourself.
Mhm.
It's been an extremely disappointing season. Possibly the most disappointing season since Klopp came to the club, really, because at the beginning we were building on something and we were looking to, get some success that we hadn't really had, especially in the league, for a long time. So this season has been very disappointing. Obviously, like everyone, glad it's coming to an end. I'm also glad there's no international major tournaments this summer as well, so the players will get a break, and it looks like many of them need it after the previous summers being non-stop as well. So that's a big thing for us, but it gives us a chance to reset. I think this game, he's going to make some changes. We're recording this Friday morning, Austin, Texas time, and Klopp just had his press conference and kind of hinted at that there's going to be some changes. Lineup wise, who knows? Who knows? Is Arthur going to make an appearance from the bench, right? Like things like that. And yeah, it is a dead rubber, but there's still opportunities for players in the squad that aren't leaving to end the season making a big impression. So I expect changes. I wouldn't be surprised if Kelleher started as well in goal. But other than that, it's very hard to say what the lineup is going to be. But yeah, changes. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So,
we always think at near the end of the season, if there's nothing really to play for, just play the youngsters. But we always have to remind ourselves that there are bonuses involved in people's wages, right? On whether it be appearances, goals, assists, victories, that any kind of monetary compensation that's tied to performance. So we always have to think about that part too when we're saying, hey, let's just put a youth team in. Salah wants to play every game, so you don't think he'll be benched anytime soon. And Van Dijk is a competitor, so we have a team full of competitors, and they all want to play no matter what the game situation is. So, but like you said, it'll be very interesting to see what he puts out there, especially after the press conference that he just had. So.
Well, it is a big. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, it is a big game for some players. There are some players that really need to say, "Hey, I don't want to be sold in the summer. I'm deserving of a squad position." Joe Gomez, he hasn't played for a while. He could come back in. There's the Greek. He might start left back. There's Carvalho, of course, who was hinted at by Klopp earlier that he might go out on loan. I mean, this is an opportunity to show other teams that he's worth other teams looking at and picking up on loan. So there is a good opportunity if Nunes is fit. I mean, this is he needs to get some goals. It's a good opportunity for him. So dead rubber, but there's a lot to play for from the certain players' point of view, I would say.
Well, Salah wants to break that record as well, doesn't he? 3 seasons with 20 goals and how many assists as well, because he needs a goal, doesn't he? To reach 20,
so. Yep.
19. So
yep.
No, I mean, put out. I'm sure Klopp will put out a decent team. I'm just over it. If there could be good news and Everton go down, then that'll make that'll make some of the season a bit better. But yeah, I'm just done with football at the moment. Done, absolutely done.
Well, you do mention that all the games kick off at the same time on the last day. So as usual, we'll be looking at the scoreboard to see what the other scores are, not to see if we're going to win the league, but to see if Everton's going to be relegated. I think that's what everybody's going to be looking for when they're looking up at the scoreboard. Anybody from Merseyside, that's going to be quite tenuous during those 90 minutes. Everton playing, and then obviously Leeds trying to catch them. So
yeah, I just can't see Leeds or Leicester.
Mhm.
I just can't. I think Everton are going to stay up, though. By the skin of their frigging teeth, they're going to stay up. Which hopefully they don't all run on the pitch like last season. But I mean, lads, isn't it so strange going into this? We look back at last season where we're all down the pub, and it came down to the last match of the season for
Mhm.
us. And it wasn't the result we wanted, but a far cry from this season. It's just it's been a very, very tough season for us. I mean, the lads pulled together the last 7-8 matches, so there is a spine there. I just think if we can make those early signings as well, get McAllister in as soon as Brighton finish their last game, that the signature goes. But yeah, we definitely need to bring in players as quickly and as soon as possible.
And this season, there's never, when you have a season as disappointing as what we've had, there's never normally just one thing. There's been a number of things this season that has caused it as well. There's obviously been a little bit of the burnout from how well we did last season, the disappointment that goes into this. The signings we made in the summer haven't really worked out to be a true success. Obviously, Carvalho started a few games, hasn't really worked out well. Calvin Ramsey's been injured. Arthur in January, who knows what to say about that one. And Nunez has been good at times, poor at other times. Obviously needs a lot of work, but there's that factor. And then, of course, the injuries play a part, and then the formation changes. And we just never really had a settled team or formation or plan, apart from the last few games this season where we did the Trent switch. And then it's like, okay, we found something here. This is going to work. And we stuck at it, and it worked, because there was one point where even a Europa League spot looked out of the question, and there was talk about, well, we might qualify for the Conference League. Do we want the Conference League? I mean, that's how far off we were. So the fact that we've been able to make this push the last few months of this season is testament to Klopp and the coaches for taking that gamble, making that change. You just if it was done maybe a few games earlier, obviously easier in hindsight, then we might be sitting in a Champions League spot. But it's a big summer, right? We know this. There's a number of players that are outgoing. They need replacing. We need top quality players coming in. And we'll do obviously a season preview show and all that kind of stuff in a few months once we look at who the signings are. But it's a big summer. Number of positions need competition, or they need players that are ready to play in the first team, because we cannot go another season and not qualify for the Champions League again. Yeah. So it's huge who we sign. It's also going to be it's going to give us a clue as for what Klopp is thinking about next season, formation wise as well, based on who we're going to sign. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, don't forget to mention, the World Cup being right in the middle. Let's not underestimate the effects that had on just getting any kind of rhythm after the injuries that we had pre-World Cup, to try to get some rhythm with a system or formation, and then the World Cup just kind of stops everything. Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, it affected everyone, and we didn't even really have that many players go to it. But yeah, I don't know. So
So it still
yeah.
disrupts the rhythm of playing it during the season, So I
Oh
mean,
yeah, of course it does. But yeah,
it's the same as when the African Cup of Nations is in January and February, and how that kind of disrupts our rhythm too when those players leave. So, Dazza, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Oh no, it's all right. No, I'm just saying though, every team had that though. It's just we've got to sort out why we have so many muscle injury issues. That's number one. So I don't know whether it's training too hard, training too much, or the medical staff just aren't up to par. It's just we've had too many injury prone players in this team, and if we criticise FSG, you've got to criticise Klopp as well. 100%. At the beginning of the season, he said we didn't need any midfielders. He's the one that said it, not FSG. He said it. So he's got to be criticised for that. And I think there's too many people that when everything goes wrong, they look at the owners. And I think we also need to look at Klopp. He's the one that puts those players out on the pitch. He's the one that should be motivating them. And the lads just didn't look too motivated for 3/4 of this season. So I think it's one of those where, Klopp needs to reinvent, not himself, but the team again, to keep the freshness going mentally and physically. I think he needs a little break because he hasn't had a break either. Everybody's talking about the players. Klopp really didn't have a break, a week here or there when it's just football. So he deserves a break. He comes back fresh, and we go again next season and see where we're at.
You make a good point about Klopp. I'm pretty sure John Henry and Linda didn't make a call down to Klopp and say, "Hey, change your formation, let Trent play in the middle a little bit more." So you're right. There's a lot of responsibility on the head coach to make the changes to see if things are working or not working. And to his credit, he did make the change, albeit with hindsight, like Julian said, a little bit too late, a couple games too late. But it does give a good indication of what we have on the team. What we can build upon going into next season. Momentum at any point. We've seen it before where that carries over. When the last time when we qualified fourth or in third place, at the end of the season, that momentum carried in, and we went for all of them, all the trophies at the season after. So that's obviously very exciting to see that there is a little bit of momentum going into this end and into this final game.
So what you're saying is book your hotel in Dublin.
Yeah, I would love to do that right now. Yes.
Well, I mean, I
don't need a hotel. I just need a flight. I'll sleep standing up.
I've gone back and forth with people. I mean, again, Europa League is not where Liverpool should be, but we're in it, and if you're in it to win it. So let's go win the Europa League. Let's have a party in Dublin. Why not? So, but yeah, let's the Southampton match. Let's end on a high and just win. That's what it's all about.
Hey, on that, right? So the Europa League, yes, it is extremely disappointing to be in that. We all know that. That goes without saying, right? But it is an opportunity as well, because we know that the Premier League next season is going to be even more competitive than it was this season. Newcastle are going to probably spend the money. They're going to need to, and they have the funds to do it. Man City are Man City. Chelsea can only get better. You would expect Manchester United to improve as well. You would expect Arsenal to build upon the improvements they've made this season as well. So it's going to be extremely tough to get in the top four next season, right? So the Europa League presents an avenue into the Champions League, right? You could say it might be easier to actually win the Europa League next season than it is to get in the top four, depending on what kind of signings and how we build upon that. So yeah, it's a massive opportunity. So, and it gives us, we have 2 chances now for next season to get into the Champions League. So we have to take full advantage of it. But if I look at it, it feels to me like it could be in, the better opportunity next season, because um, I do feel like it might be a struggle next season and in the league, just because of the amount of players outgoing and the amount of players that are incoming. There's always a transitional period, and I don't think it's going to click and work immediately. It's going to take time. So, yeah, disappointing to be in the Europa League, but we now have 2 opportunities to qualify for the Champions League. That's how I see it.
Well, that's why we need to get these players in as soon as possible, so they have a proper pre-season. This, coming in late in the window, that doesn't help anyone. I mean, Nunes was late in the window, so it's getting the transfer right is the biggest thing on, I think, every Liverpool supporter's mind. Get them in quick, so you have a pre-season. But I'm the same as you, Julian. It might take the team till January to really, blend. So, but I mean,
it's a big shift, isn't it? I mean, we've been playing with very similar midfield 3 and a very similar attacking 3 for a number of years in the Klopp era. That's pretty much all changing. We've already seen that the top 3 has changed, and now we're seeing, or coming to the end of the Henderson, Fabinho, and also Thiago. You're seeing a big change, right? And that takes a lot of time. So we'll see what happens with the signings that are made, etc., and what the plan is with the team for next season. But it's gonna be a tough one again. I feel like, but
I think. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, going into the Southampton game, we're talking about signings. Southampton has traditionally been, a place that we've found value in the past. The rumors will always persist that James Ward-Prowse, he may leave and we may sign him. I've never really bought into that. But do you see anybody on Southampton that is relegated that we can maybe possibly look at and bring into our team?
Yeah, that young lad, is it Lavia?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, him. Ward-Prowse, I mean, he's brilliant, dead ball specialist, but that's Trent's, isn't it? So why would we bring in somebody that's going to take over Trent's, but yeah, the young lad, But I mean, we'll see. What I want to say though is, I think Hendo's going to be playing more of the Milner role now. He's going to start being slowly phased out. He just doesn't have the legs. I mean, the amount of crap that man has gotten, from Alex Ferguson saying, he can't run, to even our own supporters saying he's the worst captain we've ever had, which is an absolute joke. That man has given everything for this club. But, he is getting older. We need an engine in that midfield. And, hopefully players like McAllister and, whoever else Klopp thinks is deemed worthy enough. So, yeah, I think he'll be coming off the bench to hopefully, do what Milner did, was, well, hopefully not give away so many free kicks, but come off the bench and just, keep that 1-0 or 2-1 for us. So yeah, big changes are coming for Jordan, and got to ask too, the captain role. Do you lads think it's going to be taken away from him next season? Maybe Virgil or I don't know, maybe even Robert.
I still see Henderson as someone that will start a lot of games still. And I think, because going back to that transitional piece, there's a lot of some other positions where we need someone in immediately. And I think you need a player like Henderson in there to help the new players. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Henderson start, especially earlier next season. And it's been notable that this really good run that we've been on, that Henderson started the majority of those games as well. and been very good in those games. And that's obviously helped Trent behind him. But I would think Henderson will keep the captaincy while he's still at the club and still able to play games. I don't see any reason whatsoever to change it to anyone else. I also don't see anyone else who would be as good to be captain or is ready to be captain. So no. To answer your question, I don't think so.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, that vote's taken by the players anyway, and I think he's got the respect of all of them, the way his professional attitude. But I do agree that he'll have minutes at the beginning while we integrate new players, but it'll be probably later on in the season where his minutes will start being phased out, just because traditionally he does get hurt every season. But I think he and Thiago will be that mentor for these younger lads that are coming up, Bajcetic, maybe Morton coming into the squad, any new signings. So it'll be interesting how Klopp integrates that, if he's learned any lessons in the past few years about blind loyalty versus looking at performance. And
I think he has. I think he knows he's made some mistakes, especially with Keita and with Ox. It was very curious, when Milner was interviewed and he said Klopp wanted to keep him, but the club chose not to. And then I think on LFC TV, they took that out, which was
yeah, that's interesting that they did that.
So,
but I also see that being a reality where Klopp would like to have him as a presence, and as a utility. But like Julian said, I could also see Jordan Henderson being that guy that can play multiple positions across the midfield, not necessarily as a fullback, as a right back like Milner did, but so you can't have that many part-timers on your squad if you're really challenging for trophies, and that's just the reality of it, right? So
yeah, exactly. So what are we the last prediction that I will not predict,
right?
So I'll leave it to you.
Why wouldn't you? Okay, I think you should break your stubbornness for this game where it doesn't really matter. And if there's any game where you can make a prediction and feel completely fine with being wrong or right, it should be this one. So Darren Daz O'Connor, what's your prediction for this game with goal scorers?
I predict a riot, Kaiser Chiefs.
I predict a riot.
I'm going 3-1, Julian, for the Reds.
3-1 for the Reds. Okay.
I think Salah will get the goal to break to get the record that he's chasing. And
I'll go 2-1 Liverpool.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be an exciting game, but I tell you what, it will be if Everton are losing and looking like they're going down. They'll get the crowd going because we'll have a packed away end at Southampton. Mm-hmm. So you can guarantee there'll be a party going on if they start hearing the scores coming through. So that's probably the most exciting part of this last weekend, this last set of games in the Premier League, isn't it? It's all about relegation. There's nothing else interesting going on at the top of the table. So remind me without looking, who Everton playing? Completely spaced my mind.
They're playing Boris? No, not Boris. Yeah, I don't have it on me.
You don't remember? It's early in the morning. I completely forgot. Look it up.
Yeah.
Baz is looking it up.
Everton have Bournemouth at home. Leeds have Spurs. And Leeds have West Ham at home.
Oh, I like
so
Bournemouth.
All three in the bottom.
And what, Leicester?
At home. You never know with Spurs. Leeds, Spurs. But the problem is, though, Leeds are so goal difference. I mean,
yeah.
So actually, the Leicester's the one that has the better goal difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Minus 18. Everton have minus 24, and Leeds have minus 27. So, I mean, Everton, I think, have to lose
Well, if they get a draw and Leicester win, then Leicester will go above them on goal differential.
True, yeah. So an Everton draw and a Leicester win.
Yeah.
I just
like-
don't see it.
I like Bournemouth. They had a good season. Surprised everyone, Bournemouth.
Yeah,
So
Solanke
maybe-
actually had a really good season as well.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. So that'll be the most interesting thing this weekend. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. But
Well, I'll be down at the pub on Sunday. Be a nice 10:30 in the morning kickoff here local time. Nice afternoon kickoff back in the UK. So hopefully the weather's good over there in Southampton, and the weather should be good here in Austin for a final game party.
okay.
But Monday's a holiday, so
That's true. Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, but yeah,
Cool.
last preview of the season, it's been it's been good. I mean, down the pub's great. Whether you win, lose or draw, just being in the same pub and having a few bevies and talking about how crap or we've been. But yeah, we got a good summer coming up for us on the podcast. Lots of good stuff, hopefully coming out. So yeah, look forward to that. On not really seeing or thinking about football until August.
Well, we know
Rubbish.
that's
Yeah,
wrong.
you will.
Oh,
The
of
The
transfer window.
course I will.
transfer window, and there'll be just
Oh, God.
non-stop.
Yeah,
Your
that's
favorite
saga.
part.
Yeah. Hey, I do want to take time and to thank all the subscribers for helping us, grow our channel. We've grown immensely this past 18 months. And I also want to thank BD Riley's for being such a good supporter of the podcast. But they allow us to take over part of the pub on days that they're kind of crowded a lot of times. So we appreciate all the managers over there at BD Riley's for taking care of us and supporting our channel.
And thank you to all the guests that have been on. We couldn't do it without you as well. Like that's the pub chat and the story episode. So well in. And yeah, like Steve said, thanks everyone for listening.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, put on the notifications. We'll still be pushing out content during the summer, so you don't want to miss any of the good stuff. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
See ya.